If you're writing in the health sciences, you'll find that abstracts written according to the American Psychological Association, or APA, guidelines are fairly common. There's a wide variety of abstract types prescribed by the APA, but here I'd like to go over the most common type, the kind that you'll write for empirical articles. First, I'll go over the basics of formatting the APA abstract, and then I'll give an overview of what you should be including in the content of an APA abstract. Let's get started. Although most abstract guidelines in the health sciences for original data will follow the general blueprint of APA or AMA-style abstracts, there can be variation in what is required within the abstract, the word or character limit, and other details. So always look at the submission guidelines for your abstract before you submit it. Don't assume the APA abstract format is to be used if those guidelines don't explicitly state that they are. APA formatted abstracts are required at the beginning of professional papers. It's basically going to look like this. By the way, the site this example comes from, apastyle.apa.org, comes directly from the APA and has a lot of useful information on several facets of writing an APA-style paper. I'd like you to notice a few things about this abstract right off the bat. It comes on the second page of a longer paper, and it's on its own page. The heading is centered in bold and says simply abstract, not the name of the paper. Then the first line of the paragraph is flush left, it's not indented. The paragraph is also double-spaced throughout. The abstract is meant to be a standalone piece, which is why there's no citations in it. Finally, it's fairly short, at up to 250 words. These are a few items that will give a glancing reader the impression that you are correctly following APA format for your paper. If your formatting is right, there's a higher chance that you paid attention to getting your content right as well. But speaking of content, let's take a look at what the content will be in an empirical study abstract. The sentences will generally be going over, in order, the problem, the participants or data sources, the methodology, the results, and the conclusions and further implications. Let's go over each of these step by step. In the beginning of your abstract, you'll present the problem. In this case, the problem is that when institutions administer student evaluations of teaching sets online, the response rates are lower relative to paper-based administration. The APA-style guidelines suggest that this statement, which is ideally one sentence, as shown in our example, on the problem include any major hypothesis, questions, or theories you're investigating. This initial focus on a problem and the introduction of a work can not only streamline a piece of writing, but also provide a clear reason for the reader to read it. Notice how this first sentence is fairly short, sweet, and to the point. Next, you're going to mention the participants or data sources using key characteristics. Here, the APA provided example states, we analyzed average SET scores from 364 courses taught during the fall term in 3 consecutive years to determine whether administering SET forms online for all courses in the 3rd year changed the response rate or the average SET score. As you can see, this statement doesn't merely provide the data, it also gives a preliminary statement that the data was analyzed and why it was analyzed, blurring the line between the participants, data sources, information, and the methodology a bit, which is a fairly common practice. In addition, if you're including non-human animals, be sure to be specific about the genus and the species. When mentioning human subjects, however, you don't have to go too in-depth, as you only have a sentence here. There will be room in the paper to discuss their characteristics more thoroughly. But you should include enough information for readers to have a clear idea of the scope for the data. Now, you'll discuss your methodology. In our case, as is fairly common, the methodology and the participants' data sources are combined. First, discuss the type of research you're performing, including the research design and your analytic strategy. It's okay to use shorthand here, like analysis, in our example. You can also use experimental study for research design or ethnography for your analytic strategy. Just be sure to be clear about the basic strategy. In our example, phrases like to control and to determine do this work. You'll also discuss how you gather results and the extent of your research, either through sample size, number of observations, or number of participants. Finally, be sure to include any relevant materials you used. Next, you'll discuss your results. This is not the place for you to state how your results solve your problem, although you can summarize the data considerably, and you'll need to. Your results are usually going to take up more of the abstract than the other parts, but it should still be fairly short. In our example, the statement that response rates for face-to-face classes declined is fairly general, but accurately characterizes the results, and a clearer picture of the results emerges in the second sentence, which defines minimal as 0.11 on a 5-item Likert-like scale. Although your own result descriptions may be significantly longer or shorter, try to be similarly focused on summarizing while making clear, accurate statements. Finally, as you conclude, you'll present the significance and the further implications of your research, whether it involves application in practice or in further research. This conclusion will be highly dependent on the nature of your research. One example from the APA paper we've been examining is we discuss practical implications of these findings for interpretation of SETs and the role of SETs in the evaluation of teaching quality. This example points out the nature of the implications, practical, not theoretical, and their arena of implications, the interpretation and role of SETs. A second example from another abstract the APA presents on their website ends, our data suggests that in the context of fake news, deliberation facilitates accurate belief formation and not partisan bias. This sentence clearly indicates the conclusions the researchers came to and uses a significant statement to hint strongly towards future application. As you can see, there is a range between examples, but the main focus is to discuss the significance of the results. You have some flexibility in how you do so, as long as you do so effectively and say nothing that goes beyond the evidence presented. Now, at the very end of your APA formatted abstract, you're going to include 5 keywords so that your paper will be easily searchable in a database. The example we have includes college teaching, student evaluations of teaching, online administration, response rate, assessment. Your own keywords should be relevant to researchers and accurately reflect your article. So those are the basics of writing an abstract in APA format. My name is Dr. Peter Mosley. Thanks for watching. You can connect to more resources by visiting the library or the Center for Academic Performance Writing website. For more information, check out our full series on scientific writing, poster design, and professional presenting.